Steph Curry is officially the John Wick of the NBA. He has a target on his back, he doesn't miss a shot, and he takes on NBA giants, just like how Mr. Wick took on Boban Marjanovic. If there was ever a boogeyman in the NBA, Steph Curry's the one you'd send to hunt down that boogeyman. And that is exactly why the Western Conference should absolutely fear Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. I mean, first off, the Warriors are the hottest team in the league. The Warriors finished off the regular season by winning 8 out of their last 10 games. And they're riding a 6-game winning streak. During the streak, they beat the top team in the West, the Utah Jazz. They beat the number 2 seed in the West, the Phoenix Suns. And they beat a hungry Memphis Grizzlies team who was riding their own 5-game winning streak, and who were also hunting for that 8th seed for better play-in position. The Warriors are red hot, and momentum definitely has its place in sports. I mean, would you ever want to face off against any opponent who was on a hot streak? I don't think so. Speaking of hot, the Warriors have the hottest player in the league, who just won his 2nd scoring title, in Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the most unstoppable player in the NBA. I mean, y'all know who Shaquille O'Neal is, right? He was an unstoppable force at one time in his career, and it takes one to know one. Shaq recently shared an Instagram post which detailed the 4 most unguardable players of all time, which included himself, MJ, Kobe, and last but not least, Stephen Curry. With Steph, I mean, not even a double team can stop him from scoring because he's just that good.
For the Warriors, shot clock down to 8. Curry gets it back, lets it fly from 3.
Steph Curry just ended off the regular season by averaging 32 points per game and had that amazing stretch in April that put him, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant not just in the same sentences, but in the same paragraphs and reports. Opponents always feared MJ and Kobe, no matter how their teams entered the playoffs, because these guys are relentless. And so is Steph Curry. The offense from this dude is just off the charts.
You sense Curry and the Warriors moving in for a little bit of a kill here. Steph in his bag. Deep.
Speaking of offense, if you think that's the only thing going for the Warriors, then you better guess again. The Golden State Warriors ended the season off as a top 5 defensive team in the NBA, allowing only 107.7 points per game on average. Man, they are a defensive machine. I mean, Draymond Green is a previous winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award, and this year, although he may not win it, he will be on the All-NBA first-team ballot.
It's a 3-on-1.
Andrew Wiggins, who was once considered a defensive liability, is now the Warriors' best perimeter defender and is a borderline All-NBA defensive player. Next off, I am so glad the Warriors just signed this dude for the rest of the season. Gary Payton II was this year's Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA's G League. And this man is the definition of defense to offense.
One of them will be in
make
there.
it 2 in a row, and there was not a champion crowned last year as Payton.
That is 3 defensive studs right there that can lock down a team by themselves. And if you think Steph Curry is a defensive liability, think again as well. Steph once led the league in steals at 2.1 per game, and other players in the league respect his defensive levels. De'Aaron Fox, the Sacramento Kings star, had this to say about Steph's defense.
People say Steph's not a good defender. He's guarded you before. Can he defend a little?
He can definitely defend, and he's a lot bigger and stronger than people give him credit for.
In the playoffs, the Warriors will go even further into their lockdown defense mode, and other teams have got to fear what's coming from this potential 7th or 8th seed Warriors. And speaking of that 7th or 8th seed, that's one thing these other teams have to be aware of, that this Golden State Warriors team is a lot better than that seeding suggests. If y'all don't get the full picture, let me remind you that at the beginning of the season, this Warriors team was literally a disaster project. After Klay went down from that Achilles injury, the Warriors signed Kelly Oubre, who wasn't used to the Warriors system at the time, and had an extremely slow start to the season.
It's a 3 as they recover.
Oh,
Oubre falling.
I mean, I think at one point, Oubre shot 1 for 30 from three-point range, and that was crippling to this Warriors team. I mean, Oubre was so bad at the beginning of the season that I didn't have the energy to get on Brad Wanamaker's case.
Have you never watched the Warrior game? They didn't tell you that story?
No, they did not.
I'll take care of you.
I mean,
Wanamaker played real well for the Celtics last season. But for the Warriors, he shot worse than Draymond Green from three-point territory. And that also hurt the Warriors a ton at the beginning of the season. James Wiseman, the number 2 pick, just came straight out of high school and was lacking experience. And that showed consistently as well over the course of the season.
Step back. He's got 18 of his 23 in the second quarter. Yeah, that's a walking violation.
Now that the regular season is complete, Wanamaker's out, Wiseman is out, and although I'd love to have Oubre back in the rotation, he's out as well. This Warriors team is completely different now than they were at the beginning of the season. And just treating them like a 7th or 8th seed would be a huge mistake. The Lakers are as well. We all know that treating them as a 7th or 8th seed would be disastrous. And you know what? This season might be the first in NBA history where the 7th and 8th seed both knock out the 1st and 2nd seed in the first round. So speaking of seeds, what would be a more accurate reflection of just how good the Warriors are currently? I'd say they should be a 4th or 5th seed in terms of abilities currently. But the Warriors have been improving all season, and if they just take that next step and level up in the middle of a playoff series, man, then it could be bedlam at the Chase Center. How can they level up though? I mean, Steph, Draymond, and Wiggins have been balling it out, and I can't reasonably expect these 3 players to play any better. But let's take a look at the other parts. Jordan Poole will be a major X factor. I mean, in that game where the starters sat out, Poole went off for 38 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds while shooting the lights out. He was channeling his inner Steph Curry in that game. And if he can do so consistently in the playoffs, that will put the Warriors over the top.
With Clay coming back. Here's Poole on the wing, off the bounce. Takes out his do-it-yourself hit.
Gary Payton II has been signed for the rest of the season. And if he can lock down the opponent's best guard, like Donovan Mitchell, Chris Connolly, Chris Paul, or Devin Booker, that'll definitely change the whole series.
But that's the thing, he's been in the G League. We talk about the importance of that.
I know I said Draymond Green can't be expected to play any better, but if he starts hitting his open threes, then this Warriors team can literally play like a top-seeded championship-level team. Speaking of championship-level teams, the West should fear Steph Curry and the Warriors, because let's face it, despite all the ups and downs of this 2021 season, the Golden State Warriors have championship DNA. Steph, Draymond, and Kevon Looney have all been to the highest competition the NBA offers multiple times. Their head coach, Steve Kerr, has been battle-tested in the finals both as a player and as a coach. While championship experience doesn't guarantee you'll win it all, what it does give a team is the knowledge of what winning basketball is. The type of energy you need to sustain for 48 minutes on the court, the type of mindset you need when the going gets tough, and the type of focus you need for each and every possession. It all seems really trivial, and you'd expect every team and every player to have these qualities, but that's just not the case. Let's look at the 2018 Miami Heat as a prime example, when they got a beatdown from the 76ers in the first round. This is what Pat Riley said of Hassan Whiteside after losing the series. By the time we got to the playoffs, I don't think he was ready, Riley said. He wasn't ready, he wasn't in great shape, he wasn't fully conditioned for a playoff battle mentally. He and we got our heads handed to us. The truth is, not every team and every player entering the playoffs are going to give their utmost on and off the court to win each and every game. The Warriors, on the other hand, are being led by some of the most disciplined players in the game, and you can be sure that these guys aren't satisfied with just entering the playoffs. This group of guys are looking to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. One of the key players as well is going to be Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins on the Warriors makes it unfair for the league, and I point that out in this next video here, where I discuss just how lethal the Warriors' new death lineup is going to be, especially once Klay Thompson returns. Watch the video, guys, and you too will become a believer in the former #1 pick. Click on the video, guys, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks as always for watching. Until next time, peace.